So, hello everyone. My name is DGSix Kado, and I'm doing a presentation on the friendship, the importance of building relationships. I founded DisturbedGamers in 2008 with some good friends of mine from a Steam community, about 200 guys and gals, and we decided that EVE Online would be a fun place to play. We had about 200 members, dedicated and growing. Like I said, we started in 2011. We started with some really humble beginnings with some big aspirations. We've flown everywhere from Empire to wormholes to the outlaw regions of space and nullsec. We had lived in a wormhole for our first year and learned the mechanics of EVE Online. We trained our core skills, what they were at the time, so that we could master flying our ships. We learned industry and we refined our coordination for PvP. We'll talk about building relationships with people. The first thing you need to do is invest some time into your friendship. Time is an important thing. As time goes along, your relationship grows from a mere acquaintance to a deeper relationship with your friends. And the one thing that I always learned was to treat my spaceship friend as I would want to be treated. And remember that everyone is a unique individual. And also, the act of forgiveness, to forgive for simple mistakes. Somebody forgot to strut a POS. Somebody forgot to insure a ship. And we'll talk about some internal conflicts. A conflict is more than just a disagreement. And how we deal with conflict really bears a great weight on how we're perceived by our spaceship friends. And remember that conflict triggers strong emotions. And they're also an opportunity for growth when you're able to resolve those conflicts. It builds trust. Some resolution skills that we learned was listening. We always listen. It makes it easier for when it's our turn to talk. Winning or being right is never the goal. It's always about resolving the issue. And maintaining and strengthening the friendships rather than win the arguments. We employ a wide range of players, from space truckers to PvP pilots to miners to industrialists to moon teams and finance teams, leadership teams, and we're all accomplishing a common goal. I'll take any questions. No questions? Go ahead.
How do you establish initial trust? The first corp I was involved with had a rule that anybody that wanted to join had to be known in real life, at least one other member.
It was more about networking through our peers. If I have a friend come to me, he knows more friends. If I can establish trust with an already well-maintained friendship, I can network through their friends and establish that relationship early on.
So, as an extension of that, presumably you have a really poor opinion of professional corp infiltrators, like the people who did the guiding hand first, who did the guiding hand thing.
Can we get him a lollipop so I can hear him?
Sorry. Presumably then you have a fairly poor opinion of professional corp infiltrators, like the people who did the guiding hand hit on Ubiquitous Seraph.
How do I prevent that?
No, I mean, partly how do you prevent it? Because the infiltrator there spent about a year getting acquainted with the CEO and working his way up the ranks. But what are your feelings about that?
About people working their ways up and infiltrators, we're personable inside of EVE and outside of EVE. We share a lot amongst each other, and we always have when we started. People make mistakes, people come and go. And I've seen my fair share of infiltrators that have come in and try to dismantle everything that we've put together. In time, you know, it takes time for people to unravel. Any other questions?
What I have found the biggest problem in relationship in even small intimate corporations, if there's somebody who has a problem with somebody else, then then they usually just shut up and they don't talk about it and to pretend it's not there and maybe just go and talk behind their back instead of actually going out and trying to solve the problem and talking to the people they have a conflict with.
Right, what I try to do is I try to take those two parties and put them together and be the mediator in between that so that we can resolve those relationships. Like I said, conflict is another great way to build relationships. You know, it's more about finding a common ground for each other. Any other questions?
I knew I'd get my workout this weekend.
There is usually a divide between PvPers and PvEers. How do you bridge that gap?
It's more about living with each other. We're all responsible for taking care of our own home. PvEers sometimes can be fair weather friends and sometimes they're not. You know, it's about how we bridge the gap. Everybody has a vested interest in what we do as a team. Any other questions? Oh, all right.
No, it's all good. Should have brought my fit.
So, goal setting.
Mm-hmm.
How often do you decide we're going to go for this particular objective, be it dominate the market in a particular area or build standings with such and such a group or whatever? How often do you pick a goal and go for it, and how do you come to that decision?
It has to be a cohesive decision. You know, I know a lot of people run a very a different ship than I run. It's a little more diplomatic. I believe that each player has a vested interest in what we're doing, and everybody makes the decisions. Because in the end, if I'm the only guy calling the shots, I'm the only guy. If everybody else doesn't back me up with the decisions, so it has to be a group effort. And if it's something that we decide that we want to do together as a team, we set out to do that and accomplish that goal. Any others? No?
How do you set about to build relations with other corporations or alliances or whatnot? How do you start building relationship with other corps, basically?
Most of the time they seek us out or we seek them out. Like we network through their peers a lot of times to build that relationship. If we can find one guy from another corp that likes being friends with us, or maybe there's somebody that we know, we build that relationship then.
But how do you find them in the first place?
A lot of times recruitment, help chat, social media, forums, lots of ways. You know, maybe it's somebody that we found in space, some new guys that just came to Eve, some guys that came from Steam or anywhere else that found Eve. We welcome them, open them in, open our arms, and teach them, show them the ropes at that point.
Let's say you're a diplomat and you know that you need to make a specific other entity. Oh, okay, I can use this one and talk a little bit quieter to not blow everyone's head away. No, I'm the diplomat, and let's say if I want to have a specific entity as a friend to my own entity, like to my alliance or so, and I need to get one specific person to, you know, like, how do you call it? The entry point for the social network that they got or so. How do you find this person? I mean, how you describe it, it's like, okay, I find any kind of friend, like I go to a chat and I'm gonna find people there, but I need to know this specific person of this specific alliance.
Well, most of the time, like, if you look through our history, we've been with lots of alliances, and some have been good, some have been not so good. It's building on what I have found and the friendships that I made while I was in there. I may find one guy, one CEO, one director, one member that enjoyed flying with us, and I build on that relationship. So, you know, that's how we've put it together in the past. And it's been a culmination of all the people that we've flown with since 2011 that we've made friends with, and we build on those relationships. If they were good, you know, some bridges are meant to be burnt. Some bridges are not.
So, you talk about building relationships. What about like maintaining the group? Have you been in like quite a high stress situation? You know, where your home or something, you know, is under threat, and like how have you got any like tips on how to maintain, you know, keep cohesion and, you know, stop that failed cascade?
Well, we try to involve everybody in the projects that we decide that we want to do, our goal that we want to achieve, and it gives everybody a vested interest. It's not something we do alone. If our homes are under threat, everybody knows that at that time we all need to ship up, you know, and then it's a time zone friendly thing. What else? No?
How do you deal with moving into an alliance and becoming part of the command structure? Because I know, like, when you entered into Skeleton Crew, you immediately became one of their DSCs. How do you move into that role?
It was more about making friends, you know. Everybody goes through a period where they may have 15 or 20 people that want to fleet with them. You know, it was mostly me being nice, pleases and thank yous. It was never a demand that anybody want to fly with me. It was by their own choice. And I did move up the ranks pretty quickly. Anyone else?
Forgive me if this is a silly question, but I don't know much about your organisation.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever been an executor of an alliance? And
Yes, I'm actually an executor now. We left Skeleton Crew and we started our own alliance.
Essentially, how would you contrast that with holding a corp together? And are there any particular observations about the differences involved?
Mostly it was the way that it was structured and how people dealt with conflict with inside of it. I try to involve everybody in most of the things we do, except for the secret things that people don't need to know. I make everybody feel like that they're worth flying with, they're worth playing with, and build on that relationship with them. Any other questions? Well, thanks for coming out. I appreciate you guys paying attention and showing up. Thank you very much. Have a great day.